Brace yourself.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, my special guest today is Mr. Ollie Price. Ollie is, well, you'll see for yourself. He's a man of the people. He's an extraordinary bodybuilder, or was, but more than that, he's an actor and a talented guy.
It's okay.
Perfect.
Finally.
Perfecto. Cheers. That's all right, man. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm a Zoom virgin no more.
Oh. What, just Zoom or interviews in
No,
total?
Zoom. I've not done a Zoom before. I figured my my 75-year-old mum and my 9-year-old niece are doing Zoom, so it's about time I got bored.
Well, I think in these times, Ollie, it's kind of becoming a bit of a necessity, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, everything, the way things are moving forward, if we kind of don't embrace new things, then we're going to get left behind, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. But listen, it's been a long time. I mean, it's got to be 10-ish years, you know, since we last spoke. Your beard's got a bit longer.
I know, I'm growing it, man. I decided in lockdown to give it a little bit of a go and see what I could get it to.
Got good fullness to it.
It's coming, isn't it, Ollie? It's actually coming along. You get to a point.
You
get to a point like when you grow your hair. Like, I've had long hair in the past, and you think, man, I just can't be dealing with it. So, I guess the lockdown has given me the opportunity to really go for it. See what I can get. I want to get it right down here, shall I, Ollie?
Yeah. I've done the beard. It's trouble is, mine was really patchy, so I kind of look like a feral cat, you know, been in one too many scraps. It just wasn't good. Yeah, it just wasn't happening though. And my hair, I grew my hair right down here.
Yeah,
I kind of did that for two reasons. One, because I always wanted it long, and secondly, I thought it'd give me a better chance to get onto Vikings, funnily enough.
Right.
And I grew it really long, but I don't know. Sometimes it looked good. Then other times I just looked like a dirty old man, you know, with this stringy kind of serial killer, long, lank hair, you know. So
it wasn't
go. Yeah, it had to go.
But like when you're doing your acting, you can surely they give you wigs and things.
Yeah,
anyway.
you can wig up, but I don't know. There's something for me about going all in, you know, like just everything you can do. It's funny, when I first started auditioning for that show, my agent called me up one time, because I don't know if you watched it, don't you?
Vikings, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anyone that doesn't know, Ollie's an actor, and he's current. I think it's your current thing. You've been in Vikings, the TV show. Give him a big plug because it's a brilliant show.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, go on.
When I first started auditioning for it, they were looking for the character Ivor the Boneless. Yeah. So I got very far down the audition stage for this character, and it was between me and a couple of other guys. And I remember my agent called me up and said, "Okay, look, can you change your shirt color? Because it's going to highlight your eyes more, so put a blue shirt on." You know, we were going all out to get this part. So with that in mind, any other part that I went for in that show, like the long hair or the beard, you know, I just went for it. I mean, eventually it worked out because I got on the show, but I do that with everything though. It's kind of all or nothing, you know.
But isn't that's what the like all the top actors and that they totally immerse themselves in a character, literally. Like, do you literally like live it? Or
no, I don't do all that method stuff. I mean, no, that's it's. I mean, I appreciate the art and the research and the depth, but it's not for me. You're either that kind of a person or you're not, and that's not my style.
I remember seeing Robert De Niro in Raging Bull when he played. I think it was Jake LaMotta.
That's right.
And he had to gain like 40 or 50 pounds and then cut right down. I mean, when he was big, he looked so bloated. And
Bull, let's hear for the great Jake LaMotta, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm the best. I can take him more than anybody.
You're dead, you're married. Leave the young girls for me.
There's no way I'm going down. I don't go down for nobody.
What is it with him? Why does he have to make it so hard on himself?
If you beat Trigger Ray, you'll get a shot at the title. You feel that way?
There's no one else around who wants to fight me. They're all afraid.
There's done a lot of bad things, Joey. Maybe it's coming back to me.
Christian Bale as well recently. I can't remember the name of the film. He played that politician, but he was like out here, you know. But if an offer comes up to get fat, I'm there.
What about get skinny?
Getting skinny. Do you know what? That would be easier for me than getting fatter or bigger, because I lose weight so easy. My metabolism is just it's so fast. I mean, I've had to eat 3 meals already, because I know I'm going to be chatting to you for an hour or so, and it's going to create a backlog if I don't get the food in at the right sort of times. Don't get me wrong, I'm slave to it now, but I just physically feel starving if I don't eat, you know, reasonably regularly. What
are you eating? What's your?
It's quite plain and consistent. But I'm not weighing stuff or counting calories. I mean, if you ask me how many grams of protein I eat, I don't know. I don't do macros. I don't do any of that.
No.
So basically, I have some porridge in the morning. Then I'll work out 45 minutes to an hour or so, and then after training, I'll have some chicken and rice. Not much rice, and then I'll do some yoga. Then I'll have some tuna and potatoes. Then I'll do some cardio, and then another chicken and rice in the afternoon. And then I'll have like an eggs and some flatbread or something after that. And then I'll have another bowl of porridge in the evening. So
see, you embrace the health, a certain lifestyle, and I mean, what I like about you, Ollie, is your how do I say this? You kind of fit your work life and things like that around you, whereas a lot of people seem to fit their work them around their work life. So I mean, you know, you're working out, you're eating right, you're thinking that all the time, rather than thinking, I'm sure you work hard when you do go into like acting and that, but most people, a lot of people, it seems like I've got to get up, chuck something inside me, go to work, do 12 hours at work. Then once I'm done at work, I might get home and do, but they're not think necessarily. Do you think that's like in society, people are just, they're not thinking of themselves as much?
So I read a really interesting quote piece from Warren Buffett the other day. And he said, if I were to give you one car that had to last you for the rest of your life, you'd make damn sure you cleaned it, you serviced it, you drove it sensibly, you'd look after it. And your body and your mind are effectively that car, that one thing. You don't get a second chance to go back to the dealership and say, oh, I've put a few dings on it, can I have a new one?
Sure, yeah.
That's the thing. So you have to make time for your health, for your longevity. And that includes, you know, getting enough sleep, trying not to be too stressed all the time.
You know, the other thing about that is when you get a car, you get a manual. You get a manual how that car works, how it's put together. So if you want to, you could take it apart piece by piece. But people don't read the manual about themselves, do we? We don't. We don't not many people are interested in how the brain works or how the heart works. Or I'm not talking about to a an expert level, but just getting an understanding. We don't do it, do we?
No, I actually read a really interesting book that a friend of mine recommended. He said, I don't know, I was just going through a particularly difficult time mentally. I was like, I can't remember, but I think I was just like down and just in this rut.
Right.
And he said to me, read this book. And this guy who recommended it to me was, like a proper northern rugby playing, beer drinking, tough guy. So I thought, if it's in terms that he understands, I'm going to get it. Yeah. So I read this book and it was called Emotional Intelligence. And basically put into simple terms, what you're feeling, the way you feel, the reactions that are going on in your brain that make you feel the way you're feeling. And after I read that, I actually did start to change the way I thought about things, and that episode in my life was a whole lot better because of reading that book and understanding. But you're right, unless you get a point in the right direction or someone helps you, it's very difficult to know what to do when you're stuck in a rut like that.
I guess some people are interested in just learning about themselves at some point in their life, and other people are more interested about watching football matches and knowing all the stats about football matches. I mean, at some point you have to ask yourself, what's more important? But to someone who loves their football, that's the most important thing. I don't give a damn about the body.
I know. I know. I mean, I've got some neighbours who they go to every Arsenal match.
Yeah.
He'll go to every Arsenal match like on crutches. He will not miss it.
Yeah.
But if I ask him, "Oh, what's up with your knees?" Why, he'll be like, "Oh, I don't know." He's not bothered.
No.
Get there.
No, they'll go to the doctor and take pills and tablets, and just hopefully it will go away. If it doesn't, they will end up with a consultant and then a surgery. And that's the way that our kind of society has been for quite a while now, isn't it? Quite a long time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you see some of these documentaries about, the pharmaceutical companies in the States and how they get people hooked on these painkillers, and then, reason why there's so much money, incentivized for doctors to prescribe them, etc., etc. It's crazy.
I used to sell CBD oil for a company in America called Receptra when it was first coming out, and they were I have to say, they if you're ever going to buy CBD oil, they're one of the best. I don't take it anymore or use it that much, and I'm not affiliated to them, but they were a family-run company, and they actually in America they were set up with athletes against opioids because there's so many athletes who are addicted to pain relieving medicine, and it really it freaking messes up their lives big time. And people don't understand how. This is the other thing I wanted to come on to, actually. We're leading into it nicely, because we say about looking after our bodies, Ollie, and you do everything, kind of the training and the eating, but aren't we guilty sometimes of doing it too much? And we in our quest, or in a person's quest for fitness and health, a lot of people overdo it, don't they? Too hard training, too often. Some people say you can't train hard. There's no train hard. There's just, you just do it and that's it. But come on, a lot of people have a lot of injuries. They get arthritis and problems. What do you say about? Because I know you train incredibly hard.
Duke, what is your secret? My job is to kick ass, not make small talk.
On the first point about elite sports, it's in the news now because a number of players are taking the English Professional Rugby Union to court over potentially life-changing concussion injuries that they sustained when they were playing.
Right.
And I don't know if you've seen the film with, I believe it's Will Smith. I think it's called Concussion, actually. It's about the NFL guys who successfully took the NFL to court and were awarded how many, hundreds of millions in compensation, because it was proven that, repeated head injuries contribute to dementia and Alzheimer's, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, people do take it too far too soon and not realize the potential consequences. I mean, it's funny, I listened to a Radio 1 statistic many years ago. It must have been probably 20 years ago. And it said something like, I don't know, 25 to 30% of 16 to 24-year-olds were in the gym were taking steroids. 16 to 24-year-olds. Now, that was 20 years ago. What do you think that is now? It's probably something like 75%, and 25% aren't, but it's only, down the line that you see the effects of all this.
But I mean,
so I read a really interesting quote piece from Warren Buffett the other day, and he said, if I were to give you one car that had to last you for the rest of your life, you'd make damn sure you cleaned it, you serviced it, you drove it sensibly, you'd look after it. And your body and your mind are effectively that car, that one thing. You don't get a second chance to go back to the dealership and say, oh, I've put a few dings on it, can I have a new one?
Sure, yeah.
That's the thing. So you have to make time for your health, for your longevity. And that includes, getting enough sleep, trying not to be too stressed all the time.
I'm a believer that one thing leads to another thing, Not always, but it's very often it can happen, especially with the wrong advice. And I see youngsters, knocking back their Red Bulls before a football match, and afterwards sometimes. These companies sponsor big athletics events and teams, and like why is it that we have this fixation with I don't know, stuff that gives us a very quick fix and a quick buzz, I guess?
Well, it's only got worse because of the social media, and people see something and they want it. They want to look like this. They want to, it's
Ollie, do you remember a thing back in the 80s called Ultimate Orange?
I used to take orange. Yeah.
That was the first thing when I was weight training years ago in a real sweaty, the type of bodybuilder gym in East London. And Ultimate Orange came out, and I think it was banned within like a few months or something, wasn't it?
Didn't that have? Didn't they find that had like Dianabol in it or something, or something like? Yeah, it had something really potent in it because it worked. Everyone was like, "What's going on?" This stuff works, and it got banned. I mean, I didn't know about really anything. I was so naive to it. Supplements, and back in the day, 25 years ago.
Yeah,
I remember I was taking this product called Seltec, which was a creatine product, but had massive marketing. So you had like all these old bodybuilders like Greg Kovacs and the really big names at the time were pushing this product. That for me, that was like rocket fuel. I swear I put stone on just by using that. It was a creatine. It was when creatine really got big.
Well, it was legal.
People would say to me, "Hey, you know, what are you taking? What are you taking?"
Yeah.
And I'm in this Seltec. They're like, no. What are you really taking? I'm taking this Seltec. You know, they didn't believe that I wasn't taking any steroids.
Ah, so it was legal.
It was so good.
It was legal. It was a legal.
Yeah. It was a supplement, a natural supplement. It was creatine based. Tasted disgusting. And yeah, it was the forefront of, you know, these intra workouts and all that stuff that we have now.
Yeah.
But creatine is probably one of the things that's still as effective and as popular now as it was then.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of studies on creatine, and creatine, along with caffeine, funny enough, are two very well studied molecules within human beings that have had definite correlation to improvement. Definitely. As far as I know, caffeine and creatine, they're the two. Whether or not you want to take them, but so, you know, it's entirely up to the person, isn't it? But I take creatine at the moment. I've started taking it. Yeah, I do at the moment. Yeah, I do. You know, just a spoonful every day in some water. You know, when you take your kind of aminos and things like that. I don't know whether some of it's placebo or not as well, but do you think supplements are as rated as they are? Do you think they really make a massive difference?
I think they have their place. I mean, I would say if someone's going to, like, if someone asks me what should I spend on supplements, I'd say if you really want to get something, get some creatine, glutamine.
Yeah, I'll get that as well. Yeah.
If you want to spend a bit more, maybe delve into some essential amino acids. Other than that, really, I wouldn't say an awful lot of money should be spent on supplements.
No,
it's you know, it's all marketing. Food really is the best thing you can eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a protein drink after I've trained, but only because I get so hungry, and that lasts me till I get home. It's not because I've got to get a certain amount of protein or I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nick, say, if you see my house vibrating, I live right next to the train track, so if you see like things shaking, it's like the house from my cousin Vinny. It's kind of it just vibrates like that when the trains go by.
Yeah, but I'm the same. I've got the Romford train line right behind me, literally right behind me. So sometimes if I'm doing a video in my garden where I'm swinging those clubs and kettlebells and stuff, I might be talking, and then I have to shut up because the train's going past.
Yeah. Exactly. This is where I used to do my audition tapes, and you know, if there's a train every 15 minutes, 8 trains an hour coming and going, so I'll be in the middle of like a really heavy scene, and I'm lost it.
So you got the central line behind you, haven't you?
No, this is the London Overground.
Oh, same.
Goes in street.
Yeah, well, same here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Romford, so it's straight into Liverpool Street, East London. So
exactly. But supplements. I mean, for me, I don't use creatine anymore. Right now, all I use is I have a black coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't use creatine. I mean, long story short, after I finished competing in 2012, my kidney function was reduced. And obviously the thing is with kidneys, you don't know whether it's good or bad until you have a blood test. So had my blood test, and I was shocked to find that, you know, with all the dieting and the diuretics and everything else, really put a strain on my kidneys. So I thought anything that's going to bother my kidneys, I'm not going to use anymore. Creatine, the jury's out for me whether it affects your kidneys or not. Some people say it doesn't affect the serum levels. Then some people say, well, it does, because you're still taking creatine. I mean, the fact is, when you're big and carrying a lot of muscle, body produces a lot of creatinine as a byproduct of that muscle working out. You know, it's like a car producing exhaust gas, as you know. Your body produces creatinine, and the more muscle you have, the more it produces, the more the kidney has to process that and get rid of it. So it's all strain all the time. And I'm at that point now where I'm happy with the way I look. I'm not looking to be any bigger or stronger, or
no.
You know, I'm happy. So for me, creatine doesn't really bring anything new to the table.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're looking to gain, or just starting out, you know, creatine's a great product.
Yeah, it's I mean, like a lot of protein as well is heavy on the kidneys, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really careful about that. When you ask me what I eat, and I told you I have a chicken meal twice a day.
Yeah,
that's one chicken breast.
Yeah.
2 meals.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so it's funny because I knew I was going to chat to you, and I thought it might come up. I'll weigh the portion of chicken that I had on one of my plates, and it was about 150 grams. So, yeah, I mean, I'll have like say 250, 300 grams of cooked chicken, which isn't a lot. It's not a lot. I don't think you need as much protein to build up as you think you do. You know, that's the problem.
I mean, I've done a lot of studying on this over the last particularly the last 5 years, when I really delved into things like the vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian style diets. And I have to say, you know, like with the China study that was the book that came out, and all the kind of scientific evidence about us not needing the huge amount of protein a lot of us eat. I mean, I don't know. I just read and study because it's something I enjoy. And I think everybody's different. We all synthesize things differently at different times in our lives and that. But for me, I tried a very low protein diet, but it didn't suit me.
Okay.
And I've come back now onto a very high protein diet.
Okay.
But that's only because I am, just for me personally, because I'm a bit insulin resistant. I've had a little bit of a problem. And if I'm not careful, I would have headed into, you know, pre-diabetes and things. So I have to go very, very low carb.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not something I wanted to do, because I was actually toying with the idea of being vegetarian. I had tried it, and it kind of suited me really nicely, but it you know, too many carbs just whacks me out completely.
So on that, I'm very carb dependent.
Yeah, I used to be.
Yeah. So in 2010, when I competed and won my class at the British finals, I was eating kind of medium carbs, you know, lowish fats, and then medium protein.
Right.
2011, we went the other way, and I did basically keto.
Yeah.
That didn't suit me at all. I didn't place at those finals, and I ended up looking like a jockey's whip. Honestly, I was so, like, almost not skinny, obviously, but I'd lost so much muscle despite having all that protein. And then in 2012, I went the other way, and I had far more carbs, less protein, and more fat. And I probably looked my best at that final. So the take home is everyone's different.
Yes.
You find out what works for you.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because like I said, I tried a much higher carb diet with a lot of fruit. I mean, I'm talking a ton of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
And I would get energized, but I would crash so much. I just couldn't sustain it, and I was getting headaches and feeling strange. Now I've come on to this style. I think where I am, just my blood, because of my blood sugar count, and that's what I'm starting. Do you know, it's taken me a long time to really learn about how I am.
Yeah.
Because don't you find that when you're 20, you have a way of training and eating. By the time you're 25, you're starting to change it a bit, and then 30 comes, you got to change it. Then 40 comes, you got to change it again, and then 50 comes.
Yeah.
And like I see a lot of like young guys training people who are, in their 20s and they're training people in their 50s. And like, you got no idea what it's like to be in a body of that age.
I know.
So it's a little bit kind of, well, you know, you haven't had a baby, you haven't brought up, you haven't done this. You don't know what, your metabolism, you don't know where it goes, your hormonal profile. Right. So there's quite a lot to think about when you're going and training with a 25-year-old, isn't there? And you're 55.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a 50-year-old can train a 20-year-old, no problem. But certainly a 20-year-old really has to know what that 50-year-old body's been through to really be able to. I mean, you know, you were saying about those stages in life. I mean, for me, those stages were much bigger. You were doing it in 5 years. For me, 20 to 30, really no change whatsoever.
Okay.
I was still able to have, like, I mean, literally, I was eating like a Big Mac every day because I needed those extra calories, and I was still lean and you know, burning it off. 30 to 40, I maintained pretty much the same intensity and output. Okay, the Big Mac had gone and that stopped, but I felt pretty bulletproof. It was only really when I hit that 40 to now mark.
Yeah.
Most of my surgeries have happened post 40. And like the little niggles and things like that take longer to heal. So 40 onwards for me was when I really did change. You know, I started doing a lot more yoga, a lot more stretching, not being so concerned about how much weight I was lifting rather than how was that weight.
Light me up, don't you stop, 'cause tonight it's on the line. Show me how you get on down, close my eyes, take me for a ride.
So do you feel better now training than you did when you was in your 20s, 25?
I feel more connected with what I'm doing now, definitely.
More rounded, more of a rounded, integrated.
More rounded some parts.
Well,
the thing is, like I said, it's hard for someone to look at me and maybe appreciate how desperately difficult it was for me to gain weight. I was really, really painfully skinny. So right up until I was in my mid-20s, you could almost say, oh, does that guy work out? You know, but I've been putting the groundwork in since I was 13. You know, I'm the kid who went to the gym at 13, got on the bench press, literally unwrapped the bar, and the bar went, and it wouldn't move because I was that weak. It took me many, many years. It was only really till I got into my 30s, then I started to really get into my stride. And then as soon as competing came around, I was 38 when I first competed.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
I didn't know you was that old, Ollie.
Yeah. I was 38 when I first competed. And I never wanted to compete.
No.
I only did it because there was a pro bodybuilder at my gym who said, "Oh, you should do it. You should give it a go."
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, okay, I'll try it, and did it for a couple of years. Done, you know. But it was never a goal of mine to want to compete. I'm not driven to get on stage, or, you know, I train for me and my own mental health rather than someone else to say, "Oh yeah, you need a bit more thickness here," or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, there are some people that you know, I train to a kind of level, but there are some people who have maybe through genetics or just sheer hard work, or a combination of them all, who get to the kind of level that you did, Ollie. I mean, you know, for everyone. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to ask you about that.
What?
Because you've treated athletes,
yeah,
and people that compete at a very high level.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I mean, look, I won my class at the British finals. It's in the big picture of performance. That's still getting your feet wet, basically.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. You jump onto the European stage and then international stage, and you really know where you're at. So basically, I saw where I was at in 2012 when I competed at the Arnold Classic in Madrid, and this guy took his clothes off. I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done."
You look like me then.
That guy didn't come anywhere, but he was phenomenal. So at that level, it's more than, you know, it's more than you wanting it. The top people in the world at any elite sport, now this is my opinion, and see what you think about it.
Okay.
They have been given that genetic gift. Okay. You cannot take that away from someone. It's like saying, you know, I'm a good sprinter. I've got the same mindset as else who wants to be a world champion. Can I beat Usain Bolt, who is genetically put together like a gazelle? No, you cannot. Usain Bolt, with a lazy, can't be bothered attitude, will still wipe the floor with anyone with not such good genetics, but the ultimate champion's mindset. So the point is this: are champions made, or are champions born?
I'll tell you a story, right? And it will answer this perfectly. I used to play American football, and I played in the UK for 10 years.
I didn't know that.
10 years. I started off as I played for the London Ravens, who were the first American football team in the UK, and we played against American Air Force bases until a few other teams sprung up around the country. And then by the mid sort of 80s, there were like hundreds of American football teams in the UK. They were everywhere. And I played for Grays out in Essex, Thurrock. And I had a friend who... he was a friend of my brother's, actually. We all went to the same school and knew each other. And I said, like, see if he wants to play, because like he's quite a fast, strong lad. And he was lazy as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lovely, funny kid. And we invited him over. Actually, we were just having a knockabout in the local park, throwing the ball to each other and setting up some plays. And he just run through us all. Right? And we was like, dude, you got to come and play with us. And he'd go, yeah, all right, I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
About 18 at the time. So this guy starts, right? He smokes, he drank.
Yeah.
And all the way through his career, he used to eat cream cakes. I kid you not, he would literally have a Black Forest Gatto at half time. The whole thing. He was as strong as an ox, though he didn't do any weight training, but he was a ground worker. He worked on the ground. And he's probably the best in the top 5 that has ever come out of the UK. Now, I used to train all the time. I'd be in the gym 3 times a week. I'd go running. I'd do sprints. I used to do everything, and I could never compete with him. He was on a different level. I could hit him hard.
Yeah.
You know, I had a fast brain, and I actually ended up being more of a coach on the team, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But he just went on, and I lasted about 10 years in a very brutal, uncontrolled sport, really, in the UK, where every weekend where people were being carried off to hospital with broken legs and he played for 20 years.
Oh, he actually went on to play.
He didn't play in America, just in the UK. He played for 20 years in the UK, and he's probably and he was even asked to play for England, and he just couldn't be bothered to turn up. I think he might.
Yeah.
So I see him the other week. He came and done some work on the house of mine, and he's still doing groundwork. Right? This is hard work. This is digging holes for him.
Yeah.
And I said to him, like, don't you ache? And he went, no. Went, really? Are you joshing me? You're 50 years old now. And he went, no. He said, I feel really good.
Yeah.
Smoking a fag, drinking a Red Bull. He said, I do watch what I eat now, Neil. But he was genetically gifted. That guy was genetically gifted. He could beat anybody, and he never seemed to try. And I think you're right. And I know I'm waffling on, but the other thing is when it comes to people saying you can be what you want to be, I would say, in my opinion, don't believe that. You need to find out if you've got what it takes to be what you want to be.
I think the problem with training is that you post some pictures up when you're in good shape and put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's saying how amazing you look, but I can pretty much look at someone, a bodybuilder, and you can just tell, you know, if they're going to go very far or not. The muscle insertions, the symmetry, the proportion, just how their physique is put together.
Yeah.
Now, you become deluded by listening to those things.
Yes.
And unfortunately, with bodybuilding, you know, it's not the healthiest pastime at that level. No. And you convince yourself that, I'll take a bit more of this, or I'll try that, and you keep pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
But you're never going to beat that guy, you know, who's got those perfect muscle bellies, and you know, it's just never going to happen. It's like someone like a Flex Wheeler.
Yeah.
You know, just structurally, you know, he didn't train that hard. No. Look at Phil Heath now. You don't see Phil Heath squatting 5, 6, 7 plates in the gym. Doesn't need to.
No.
You know, or Kevin Levrone.
Yeah, I remember.
Look at Kevin Levrone. He used to come off everything, all his supplements, steroids, everything, and he'd go back to looking like a 12-stone man who'd never trained in his life.
Yeah, yeah.
But when he turned on the taps, you know, he could be on stage at 240 in 20 weeks.
It's crazy.
Like naught to that in 20 weeks, you know. So it's a genetic, and bodybuilding is no different. But unfortunately, you know, people want to believe that they can take it all the way, and you know, it's not going to happen. I mean, that's terrible. I don't want to piss on anyone's fire, but
this is real life, isn't it? It's our opinion.
You need to be honest. If you can't be honest with yourself, then it's why I quit. Look, out of 5 shows, I won 2, came second in the 3rd, didn't place in the 4th, and came even worse in the 5th.
Yeah.
But I thought, what? This isn't going to happen now, not ever, and I'm not going to risk my health over it. So I walked away from it. And luckily, you know, I still love training, but bodybuilding wasn't for me.
No.
But you know, people don't want to hear the honest truth. And sometimes, you know, you don't want to crush someone's dreams in any field, but
no,
you know, there's a way of saying things to people that maybe can guide them, but you know, I don't know.
Well, when I I used to work with a lot of young football players, potential, Premiership football players, and they were around 15 years old, 16 years old. And the guys that kind of went on to make it, I mean, they were all talented. Obviously, I didn't see them all playing because I used to see them in, a therapy situation. And the guys that really went on to make it were the ones that avoided bad injuries and problems, because the guys, they're at these academies and they're not getting looked after very well. They're beasted until some fall apart. So, I fully believe that there are some amazing athletes who are just too damaged because they've been given the wrong information to be able to get them where they want to be. And when I started in the therapy world about 12 years ago, something like that now, I really thought that I could help change the attitudes of people towards the repair side of their training, because for me it's very important. But it's getting better, but it's still nowhere near where it should be, and people are falling by the wayside.
I mean, this is what I said the other day about personal training. I mean, I get asked, do I do it? No, I don't do it, because generally, on the whole, not everyone, but most people just don't have the capacity to take the knowledge that you give them and, go on their own sweet way and keep making progress. They just slip back into their old habits, and they've ended up spending a lot of money in the process. So, it's very difficult. Yeah.
Well, you worked as a PT for a while, so did I. And
I did. I mean, the thing is with the PT, it's more. I end up being more of a psychologist to these people. I'd have middle-aged women telling me more about their problems and feeling better because they'd had someone to speak to,
for sure,
than actually training and working out. I mean, that was my experience at Fitness First. And that's not the case with everyone, obviously. But I just thought to myself, hang on, I'm in the wrong job here. I'm just talking, and I wasn't getting anything out of it myself. I wasn't feeling. It just became a job,
I mean,
feeling anything.
For sure, you can tell that for a lot of people, the gym is a social connection point, rather than I must train and improve my body.
I saw when I used to train at Virgin, a couple of PTs there was one really good looking guy, and I used to watch him. All his clients were women, and he just used to kind of put his arm on the machine like this, count to 10, whatever they were doing, put them on the next machine, and he'd do the same routine for 10 clients a day. But he was so bored, you could see he was bored out of his mind, but he was just taking the money, I mean, for me, that's just soul destroying. I couldn't imagine.
Do you reckon more people sign up with trainers because they like the look of them rather than what they know?
I think so, although if you're an overweight female trainer, you're going to get a lot of clients because you're completely non-intimidating.
Sure.
At that extreme. Now, at my extreme, when I was working first, I was walking around as British champion. Not much I didn't know about training and getting into shape with no clients. I'd be sat there with like 20-inch arms, and people would be scary,
intimidated.
So there's extremes. I think
I had the same thing when I start talking. Sometimes if I start talking techie talk about the body and that, people just zone out.
I mean, I'm genuinely interested in how the body works and all the rest of it, but like you say, it's like the Warren Buffett thing. People, if you see your body as a car, take it to the dealer to get it serviced. I don't really care about what you're doing, just service it and then give me the bill.
I mean, talk about hard training and looking after yourself. You read that? Didn't you rip a bicep off or something? Or
but I've never injured myself in the gym training ever.
Really? No back problems, knee issues, nothing.
Okay, so I've got an L5 S1 bulging disc. I've had 2 shoulder decompressions. I've had a bicep reattachment. I've had some problems with an elbow, and currently I'm waiting for. I've got a compressed nerve in my neck, and long term, I've got a problem with my hip. All these things are due to age-related wear and tear.
Yeah.
The bicep, you're right, when I tore my bicep, I was actually sparring boxing with James. Do you remember James at Fitness First, the manager?
Yes. Yeah,
he was
I remember James, yeah.
Bald head.
Yeah, good guy.
So we were just boxing and throwing a few punches, and I threw a punch with my left, missed the pad or missed him or whatever. And that movement, just all that force going through that tendon, just snapped it.
Wow.
And I knew what I'd done straight away. So I went straight up to Romford. And luckily got booked in and had it done, reattached. It's actually better than this one now.
Yeah, it's funny how it mends, doesn't it? Especially if you retrain it, keep training it, you build up the cellular level inside it.
Yeah, I mean they've screwed the tendon into the bone, literally screw it. So there's no room for it to come out.
This is why I did a little video this morning, because I'm big on the club swinging and mace swinging and stuff like that. That's a big reason why I do it. Is so that people get that rotational power through the body, so that any any kind of surprising jolts and reaches and things, you can protect yourself.
I mean the problem with weight training is it makes you strong, makes your skeleton strong as well. And over the years, your body's laying down all that calcium. Yeah. And for me, with my shoulders, the space in the shoulder joint was getting smaller and smaller. And my tendons were getting thicker and thicker. So it's like putting too many cables down a pipe. Eventually it's not going to. No, there's nowhere to go. No. So the tendons in the shoulder start rubbing on the acromion. Yeah. And it's like if you're rock climbing, it's like the rope fraying on the rock. It's usually frays and frays, and it snaps, and then you've got a rotator cuff.
Yeah, quite often it's the supraspinatus at the front of the shoulder there.
Yeah, but people, I say to someone, have you had it scanned? No. What are you doing for it? Oh, I'm just taking some painkillers. Okay. What makes it hurt? Flat bench press. Are you still flat bench pressing? Yes. Just going.
I know, man. I know. I've spent a lifetime trying to explain to people you don't need to do that. It's just ridiculous. There's a lot. Just to add on to that, when you get that, so you obviously had a decompression to hoover out that area to make it slip and. Yeah,
two in the same shoulder.
Yeah,
because I'm right dominant. So all majority of the force goes through my right side. So
there's I can't remember the name of the doctor stroke scientist, but he's wrote a few books about treating shoulders just by simply hanging and creating that space back in there. I mean, it's not for everyone, because if you get to a point where it's so damaged, then surgery is usually the best option. If it's just starting to, you notice you're putting your shoulders over, arms overhead, and you're feeling little pinches and things, you might want to look into decompressing the shoulder naturally.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, it does take time though. But this is where we come back to doing all the yoga and doing movement training, rotational training.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
go on.
I was going to say, nowadays, if you are a young man or woman and you're going into the gym and you're just lifting weights and probably thinking about taking steroids or something like that, then if you're not doing the other things, you're not going to learn from people like my mistakes, who beat their bodies up terribly and cause themselves a lot of problems. You need to really look after your body, like you said, the yoga and
I think the thing is, people want the most amount of results in the shortest amount of time. So it always makes me laugh when people will see me stretching. I stretch every day. Yeah. But when I've done my weights, I might just stretch out my hamstrings. Yeah. And it always makes me laugh when they go, oh, didn't think someone your size would be able to do that.
Yeah.
As though I'm put together any differently than the next guy. And this thing about being muscle bound, that always gets me, because I can move my joints and my body in positions that you wouldn't even imagine. And I've got a fair amount of muscle, you know? So this muscle bound thing, it's just lack of education around the human body, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you are 100% correct, my friend. But a lot of it is to do, you know, I don't want to go too techie, but a lot of it is to do with our nervous systems, because, you know, I've seen it where if you anesthetize someone who can't touch their toes or maybe even their knees, if you take out the nervous system, you can take that leg and bend it literally around their ear rolls. Yeah. So it's just the nervous system. And a lot of time when we're stretching, we're retraining the nervous system to
100%. Yeah. And that's actually one of the best ways that, like I say, without getting too techie, one of the best ways I'll get someone to increase their hamstring flexibility is doing the PNF stretch. Yeah, pressing down hard for 5 seconds. Yep. And then, you know, but yeah, like you say, nervous system. That's all nervous system.
It is. Well, you ever since I've known you, Ollie, which is, like I say, we haven't spoken for a long time, but when I knew you, like, it's going back like 10 years. You was interested, or you was doing acting around that time, wasn't you? You was definitely into it, and I remember you had How long have you been acting? How long have you wanted to?
So that period of time when I was at Fitness First and you knew me, I was into it, but I wasn't proactive with it. I was like, I was having a break. I was in that lull period, in that rut.
Right.
Didn't really know how to get my way out of that. So I concentrated on the bodybuilding because it was something that I could control, and emotionally at that time I needed to be in control of my life. So as far as how I got into it, it was back in 2000.
Sorry, why did bodybuilding help you emotionally, Ollie?
Because it's like that quote. It's such a good quote. You know, the 200 pounds is always 200 pounds. You know, the iron gives you the real deal. It never lies to you. It's always there.
Right.
This is part of a quote. I can't remember his name. It's such a good quote about training and working out. It really is the one true thing that you can rely on. So when I say to someone who's suffering from
we just lost Ollie a little for a second there. It will come back on. It's just my internet connection just stopping at the wrong moment now. Let's just wait for this to reconnect. Here we go. All right, so Ollie, sorry, 1 second. Just as you went into saying about depression, my internet connection went very slow. It does that sometimes. So
that was my bit.
I know. I'm sitting there talking to myself, saying he's just about to tell me about that. So can you reiterate?
So basically, what I was saying was, I like to pass on the gift of training to anyone who's suffering with their mental health.
Right.
They don't have to become Superman to feel good about themselves. So, like I just said, you know, walk up and down the stairs 50 times, do anything, physical activity, get a bit of a sweat going, even if it's just marching on the spot.
But how do you get somebody who's like just doesn't, you know, I mean, surely the person has got to they've got to come to the realization that they want to do that. Do you know what I mean? This is the difficult thing, isn't it, with depression and anxiety? And
sure, depression, no doubt, is a medical condition.
Yeah.
But you can't just rely on having happy pills for the rest of your life. You need to get yourself off those.
Yeah.
They help you through a difficult period in your life, be it bereavement, be it whatever.
Yeah.
Because we all deal with things differently. Fine, but you have to realize that eventually you've got to get up and take responsibility for you. much like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption says, get busy living or get busy dying. You know, because ultimately no one gives a shit about what you do. Only you can care enough about yourself to lift yourself up and start walking towards where you want to be. As far as mental health and depression goes, every step forward you take is a step further away from that burning building, you know? So no matter how small it is, it can be just a positive thought. It doesn't always relate to physical exercise, but that really helps.
I mean, I remember something that I was told when I was in a pretty dark place one time, and they said, just lace up, put your tracksuit bottoms on and lace up your trainers and stand up, and like you said, you might want to go for a walk, then turn that into a bit of a jog, and then turn that into lifting some weights. So don't necessarily start with the thought of I've got to lift all this, I've got to train this way. If you just think of the really easy things, it becomes like a ritual you do leading up to something. So just putting on your trainers doesn't mean that you're going to work out. You do it and then maybe go to the next stage and then the next stage. So what do you at the moment?
Sorry, at the moment what?
I was going to say at the moment there are particularly young guys going through very depressed, anxious times that we're in, and the male suicide rate, especially young male middle-aged men suicide rate, is well, it's through the roof, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's just, and it's going up exponentially year after year. Do you think a lot of these young men are missing some kind of physical, which leads to mental discipline in their life?
I think for sure it's that argument of nature versus nurture. Now, people ask me, why and how have I developed that mindset? My routine is so entrenched in my daily life that I wouldn't consider not doing what I do.
That's what I tell people.
But the thing is with me, I mean, I'm not going to say I was lucky. I mean, some would say I was very unlucky, but I had a very disruptive childhood. So I didn't have my mum around, my dad around. There was a lot of arguing. My dad was quite a violent man. I felt the need to survive, or literally it was a case of, you know, survive or die kind of thing. So I needed to find something that I could get into that would be there. I could rely on it and it would make me feel better about myself. And it's funny because I told you earlier on that it took me until I was about 25 to 30 years old before I really got into my stride with the bodybuilding. But that's not to say the minute that I picked up that weight and started moving with it, I felt better about myself.
Did you, because of the way you was brought up, whatever, you know, happened in your, was you angry? Did you need to like punish yourself, or?
I mean, as a kid, when your parents get divorced or they're arguing, I'm talking about when I was 5, 6 years old, all that screaming and shouting, it's so damaging for kids. So I remember, I used to take it out. I mean, it was terrible, but I remember putting the cat in a laundry basket, rolling it down the stairs in the laundry basket and thinking that was funny, you know, because I was so kind of, that anger from your parents is put onto you. You want to something else, but when you're 5, you know, you don't have anything else to put that on. So I mean, God, luckily the cat lived to about 20 years old and she forgave me, but
man,
you know, I only did it once.
but you can see how people go the other way. I mean, like I've heard this story a lot. People that have been in, you know, horrible situations, and what's horrible for one person isn't for another. But let's just say it's a difficult time, and you either sink or swim. You know, people become bad, or they go the other way. They become really good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up in a very aggressive household, a lot of shouting and swearing, screaming. So I tend to shy away from very loud, domineering personality types. Anyone's like that, I tend to be like, okay, yeah. Okay. It's funny because people see me outwardly confident, you know, good physique, whatever, and they think that I'm a certain way because of that. But I'm not a product of my physique. My physique is a product of me. And me, the real me, it's got nothing to do with the way I look. This is just an outward expression.
But this is the other thing, isn't it? We talked about people that can't motivate themselves to go to the gym and do yoga, etc., etc. But they won't think think too much of when they're sitting next to you in a restaurant and they see you in a t-shirt, of admiring you and saying, actually, it goes both ways, doesn't it? Some people actually put you down for looking good, and some people big you up. And these people often have, you know, I had a friend once who was 6'8", played basketball and everything, and he was just so sick of every time he went anywhere, someone saying, oh, you know, what's the weather like up there? Don't you get... It just bugged the shit out of him. And you can understand it, like every single person, all the time, until in the end, he just paid no attention. And people thought that he was then being arrogant.
Yeah, of course.
They didn't know.
I mean, when I was competing 2010 to 2012, I was walking around at 20, 21 stone. And if I had a t-shirt on, people would look, people would stare, people at restaurants would want to talk to me. And yeah, it became really annoying. And I decided after I stopped competing, obviously I dropped loads of weight. I'm only about 17 and a half now. So I can put a t-shirt on or a shirt or whatever, and no one looks twice, which is great. But yeah, I can see how people would get irritated, particularly if you're 6'8", you can't do anything about that.
No.
But you know, like I say, I've dropped 4 or 5 stone. I've done that basically as a byproduct of not competing anymore, and yeah, I don't get that attention now, so it's great.
I've actually treated people in the past who have physical conditions due to stooping, sagging in their posture because they wanted to fit in to be like everybody else.
Yeah, I was like that. I mean, I've got I'm very hunched naturally.
Yeah.
And my dad would always be like, you know, chest out, shoulders back, and all this. But true. You want to fit in when you're 6'2" at 13, 14 years old, you know, and you're all like 5 foot something. Yeah. You know, you don't want to you end up looking like Lurch, you know, you're like this. But it's
you get a job on the Addams Family, Ollie.
I have auditioned for that. It's funny because I'm at an awkward juncture, really, because I'm nearly 50, but I don't really look 50. No, but I'm not 35, so I don't fit in either way there. I'm big, but I'm not enormous. I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. You know, so it's a bit it's like a Venn diagram, you know, with the circles, and I'm kind of a bit in everything rather than one defined space.
You need to grow your hair and get a beard.
Maybe that's what.
Yeah. So
good. Let me show you. I came across a really good. It's actually one of my.
By the way, before you say it, as you lean into the camera, your face is whiting out completely. So be careful. Better there, yeah.
Better there. So you were asking about you know, motivation and what helps people to, I don't know, just want to improve themselves and feel better about themselves. And many years ago, I mean, I still watch The Strongman every year.
Oh yeah.
But there was a guy called Hugo Girard on it, Canadian guy.
Yeah, I know.
And he came out with this quote, and this was back in like 2000. It's about 20 years ago.
Mm.
And he said, "You know when you're alive when you have expectations, goals, and dreams.
Mm.
I can't understand somebody who doesn't have any passion, something to get them working harder or achieving something. It's passion that keeps you alive, keeps you dreaming, keeps you wondering, keeps you trying." Yeah. And that for me just epitomizes life. You know, you have to be a dreamer. You have to want to achieve something for you that's bigger than you, you know, like an impossible target, but you have to go for it.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I mean, I love that quote. Thanks for sharing it. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah, things like that really do it for me as well. I mean, I watch a lot of motivational stuff. I really do, and I like motivating people as well, which is why I like my coaching probably more than the actual physical side of it. But for every one person that gets this motivational feeling and understands and wants to explore that motivation more and inspiration, there's 100 people who, like we said before, they're not interested, but everybody gets motivated in some way. So if we go back to the analogy of us talking about the guy who just watches football, when his team makes a good move and scores a goal, he feels it.
Yeah.
He still feels that motivation, but yet he's not motivated to listen to a strong man do something amazing and give a quote. But we were all motivated, surely, just different things.
Yeah, you've got to find, and that's the thing. You've got to find. I don't know what does it for you. What makes you?
But you're like me, Ollie. You like the philosophy of it, don't you? You like the actual. Like, you could read a book on motivation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tony Robbins was probably my first introduction to most books. What was it? Is it the On the Shoulders of Giants?
Shoulders of Giants. He's done a few, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I read those books and I just lapped them up. I was like, wow, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that guy. I mean, it's like Barack Obama. Whether you agree with him or not, he's mesmerizing when he talks.
Yeah,
you know, just listen to him,
for sure.
And that silky smooth voice that Tony Robbins has got as well.
Yeah.
Or Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. They've got charisma that, you know, they can sell ice to Eskimos. And as soon as I listened to that Tony Robbins, I was sold. Yeah. And actually, to this day, I still use some of the NLP techniques of reframing and, you know, all the rest of it that really do work.
Oh, they do massively. I mean, I had a few sessions of NLP and then went and studied a basic course in NLP to help me in my coaching and my therapy. And it was a game changer for sure, an absolute game changer. And I still have a few, I can't remember what they call them now, but there are keys where you do something, you touch somewhere or you do something that take you back to a memory that you've put into, had put into you. And I still remember it now, 10 years later, like that. So if I do a certain thing, it triggers an emotion.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But maybe... Sorry,
how it gets so deep rooted in your brain, you know.
Yeah. You do things where you play over scenarios and then you rewind them and then you go back into it and then you see yourself there and you build it up build it up. I used to be, when I used to do martial arts, I used to do a lot of martial arts, and every time it came round to doing a grading, you would be up in front of everybody.
Yeah, of course.
Including your sensei.
Yeah.
And I was quite good because I took it really seriously, like I do. And I was always confident in what I knew, but on the day I was like cut to pieces.
Yeah, pieces. Yeah, I'm like that. Like that with.
And NLP, when I did the NLP, it completely changed the way I looked at it, and I have never looked back. Still get nervous about certain things, but
yeah,
never the same since. Never the
yeah,
same since.
yeah.
Brilliant.
It's like I said, with some auditions that I've done, I think I'll go into them with no expectation now.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, that's when you're most relaxed. When you want thing and you hold on to that, you become tense, and people can pick that up, and you end up not giving as good an account as you possibly could of yourself.
Yeah.
I've done some stinker auditions that I look back on now and just, I'm like, I read for a show called Band of Brothers.
What, the army one? Yeah.
In, when was that? 2001 or something. It was a long time ago.
Oh, great show, man.
Yeah, but that, for me at the time, that was way above my pay grade. You know, that was like, I don't know, reading for Robert De Niro or something at the time. It was mental.
Well, didn't Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg?
Yeah. But I stood there.
Yeah.
I had art in this guy, this southern accent, and I was falling to pieces, just dying on the spot. And thank you very much, and walked out. And I knew I did terribly, but I look back on some of these auditions and go, do you know what? I didn't die.
Yeah, you did it. Experience.
And every experience you have, you become more relaxed. That's the idea.
I mean,
I don't know how it's going to be now, because we've been trapped indoors for a year. So
I don't know.
And I've seen for I don't know how long.
Well, going back to the thing when we were talking about talent, is it natural, or there are some things that, you know, because sometimes people see people and think they're brilliant at that, but they don't realize that they've spent 20 years. So like for you, let's just say in 2 years time you suddenly hit it as an acting superstar. You become a household name. You've got regular work, great work, and you do some amazing acting, and people will say he's a natural, you know, he was made to do this. But if they look at this interview that I'm doing with you, they'll see that a whole lifetime of experiences and things have gone into shaping you to be that thing. So
yeah, absolutely. It's like do you remember when the fireman used to come round at school, and when you were really young, and he used to tell you about do you remember the fire triangle?
Yeah.
Do you remember the fire triangle, where it's heat,
oxygen,
and fuel? Right? Some people say to me, or they think the way I've done things, it's okay for him, he's lucky, he's this or that. Now, luck, let me tell you about luck. Luck, there's no such thing as luck, right? Luck is talent meeting opportunity and persistence. That's the thing that people don't understand. You have to have those three together to keep moving forward. I mean, it's like people say, you know, do you believe in destiny, or do you believe in fate? Fate, I'm not so sure about, because you could go to work, meet someone on the tube, and they could become your wife. You know, that's kind of fate that brought you together. But destiny, I believe, you shape your own destiny. All the great people, whether it be, you know, athletes or actors, politicians, whatever, they've worked to get where they are. They haven't just sat back and gone, do you know what? I know I'm going to be great one day. I don't know what in, but I know I'm going to be great. So I'm just going to put TV on. That doesn't happen. No. You know, it doesn't happen. You know, so you have to do the behind the scenes work.
Yeah. It's like that. I was going to say to you, do you remember that book, The Secret, was kind of kicked off this? This. But you know, the moral behind all that, I think, exactly that you're saying, Ollie, is that you can have hopes and dreams to be something. You can put that out into the universe. You can discuss with other people so that they get an idea of where you're going. So you're constantly putting this out there. But unless you're doing the work, and unless you're prepared to fail, like constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a place of constant failure. I embrace constant failure. because I went to the dentist. 'Cause I'm having my teeth straightened at the minute. I've got these invisible aligners.
Oh.
And when the dentist was telling me about it, you got to wear them for 22 hours a day, and you know it's going to be tough. It's going to be this, and it's going to be that. I was like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's a problem. He said, yeah, a lot of people come in here, and I give them the spiel, and they're like, no thanks, that's not for me.
Right.
You have to embrace the difficulty in life. So whether it be, if you're training, whether it be not being able to get the weight that you want, not being able to get the parts that you want. I mean, I don't know if you know, I auditioned for Vikings over 20 times.
Did you?
20 times.
Was that 20 different parts?
20 different parts, yeah.
But if you'd have played either the boneless, you wouldn't have used those big legs, would you? You'd have been dragging yourself around.
He's a great kid.
He is.
But the problem is, he's a kid. He's like 24 or something.
I know.
So we were in makeup together, and I'd look at him and think, do you know what? I don't feel bad about this at all, because he looks great for that part. Plus, he's half my age, so I can't be annoyed about that at all.
When you read, I love Viking history. I think I am a bloody Viking sometimes. I really do.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we all are. Yeah, parts of it.
Yeah. Well, parts of us, yeah. But do you know why he fits? Is because he's the antithesis of what you would not expect either the boneless to look like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. But psychologically, he's as twisted as hell.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's great for the part. And you know what? Casting, sometimes they get it wrong. Yeah. Most times they get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite films, I can't imagine anyone playing them better. Who was it? What's her name in Terminator? The lady.
Is it? Oh God.
Linda. Yeah,
Linda.
So Linda Hamilton was against Arnold playing that part.
Was she?
She actually said, I don't want him. He's a nobody. He's never acted in his life. I don't want him playing this Terminator character. Linda Hamilton was very serious, theatrical. She trained at top drama school in, I believe, New York.
Okay.
Really heavyweight actress. Yeah. And was really looking down her nose at poor old Arnold, whose English was, let's face it, not very good at the time.
No.
But they eventually said, okay, he's got to play this part. There's no one else who can play it. And he did a great job and proved her wrong. But, you're constantly faced with, you're not good enough. Yeah. You can do this. You're never going to be able to do that.
I mean, seriously, how good was Terminator? I mean, when the first one came out, I was like, so here's a bodybuilder I absolutely idolized. And he's just acted but not acted through one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah. Arnold, I mean, for me, Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, incredible.
Terminator.
Yeah.
And, Predator.
Yeah.
They're probably my three favorite Arnold films. And I love Arnold because even now he's so positive, and he's such a fun guy. He gave that speech the other day, which about politics. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did. I don't say I agree with everything he says, but
the way he puts his point across, and I took this from it when he was saying about strength of character.
Yeah.
He took his sword from Conan, and he said it's like making the sword, the steel. You put it in the fire, then you put it in the water, you make it stronger, you hammer it, you put it in the fire again. And again, I that's how I feel about disappointment, about rejection, because the more you get, the stronger you become. And you feel, it's an amazing feeling, because you feel invulnerable to any feelings of self-doubt or self-disappointment. When you've done it all, when you've had that, you know, when you're a 17-year-old kid and you're asking a girl out, and you got the NHS specs and the spots, and she laughs in your face, you just want to die. Yeah, that's probably the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to you. But you don't die. You get over it. Yeah. The spots go. Your eyes get better or whatever. Yeah. And then you ask someone else out, and they say yes. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You overcome these obstacles. And that's, as you do that your whole life, you just develop this sort of invulnerability to disappointment. But
it also seems that the people that do this hard training and get this into their mindset, whether they're champions or not, always seem, very often anyway, to go on to be something else, and then something else, and then, you know, case in point with yourself, you're training, now you're acting. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, training, acting, politician, you know. So it really is a mindset thing, isn't it?
I think if it's in you to keep pushing those boundaries, you're gonna naturally find something new to push against. So for me, you know, I took the bodybuilding as far as I could take it. It wasn't offering me the challenge that I needed to feel growth. I'm not talking about physical growth. I'm talking about that mental growth that we all need, and change as you get older as well. So you need challenges, different mental stimulus as you get older.
Yeah. So how do I get a bit part in Vikings then?
I've had a few friends ask me about this. If you want to do it, they do a casting round. They actually advertise it on Facebook.
Yeah, I've heard that actually.
So you just send your details and a photo, and invariably, you know, you have to go to a casting, and they'll take you. But do you want the bad news? Yeah, there's no more Vikings. It's finished.
Oh, is it done? Oh man.
However, they do a prequel that's set. They're either doing a prequel or a sequel. I think they're doing maybe a sequel that's set 100 years in the future or 100 years past or something. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, the Viking things, I always fancied being on one of those big battles, you know, where there's like hundreds of people with shields and axes running towards each other.
We did that. It was phenomenal. I mean, when Vikings started, it was quite a low budget thing, you know. The Vikings would arrive in this boat, and there'd be about 20 of them, and there'd be no one around because the budget wasn't there.
Right.
You know, when I was working on it, there was hundreds of extras dressed as either Saxons or Vikings.
Yeah.
And we had these massive pitched battles with flamethrowers and catapults.
Wow.
Throwing these big, you know, fireballs. Drones as well for the drone shots.
Wow.
I
bet the adrenaline gets going, doesn't it, Ollie?
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you're doing it, I mean, we had a scene where we were all running away from the Vikings.
Run away!
After Monty Python. After about 5 times, you're definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
I was really that feeling you were describing about doing the martial arts grading.
Yes.
I felt that just before my scene because we were waiting for dusk.
Right.
We couldn't do anything before dusk. So when you're waiting around, you start thinking, do I remember my lines? You know, is he going to say his line right so I can react to that? You know, it was it was pretty nerve-wracking, but got through it, didn't die.
That's always good.
Got cut, they cut the scene to death, but what the hell, I still did it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're there. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah,
you're there. What's the best acting role you've had? Not necessarily in terms of, you know, being there, but just personally for you, and why?
I think so. Acting, I'd probably have to say the thing that I will look back on and think that was amazing to be part of was obviously Vikings.
Right.
However, I've done some amazing work over the years. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. I'm going to spoil you, not just 1, but 2.
Awesome.
I did this commercial where I played, I mean, it was the most nuts idea. How people come up with these ideas. I played a techno Viking who was transported through time to dance and techno, you know, big box, little box, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And impart his knowledge to people through his nipple.
Wow.
Have you seen the commercial that I did called Thunderhead?
I don't think so, Ollie. No. Did you send that to me the
Yes.
other day with your... Okay.
Yeah. So when you watch that, you will understand the madness behind it. I mean,
this was a film.
It's a commercial.
Oh.
That's probably the craziest job that I've done.
Is that where you're like walking down the street and you've got like all Viking, your hair's like back and you like...
We basically did a music video in a car showroom. And like I said, I took the car salesman in my arms, rocked him like a baby, and then he sucked on my prosthetic nipple.
Really?
I mean, it's
like Meet the Fockers.
It really, honestly, I mean, one of the nipples came off in his mouth, but that's another story. Story for another time. But you know what? The funny thing is,
wrong type
that
of shot.
job, me doing that job.
Yeah.
The guy who was the head of that commercial, he loved it so much. He said to me, "Wow, how would you like to go to Cannes and do a show over in Cannes? Just ride a Harley Davidson up and down, do a show." Did that, stayed at this Russian gangster's house, then went on to Holland, did another show in Holland. I mean, that one job led to about 4 or 5 other gigs, playing this Viking character. So that's probably the craziest job I've done. Another job that I did very quickly that I absolutely loved was I was in a show called an opera called Anna Nicole.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, at the Royal Opera House.
Yeah, I remember you in it.
Crazy job, an opera about Anna Nicole.
Yeah.
You know, I'm about. I mean, I never like to set boundaries, but if someone would say to me, you know, you're going to be on stage at the Royal Opera House in a show, I would think probably not.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That was a crazy job. But listen, look what's happened in the last few years. You know, Leicester City won the Premiership.
Yeah.
Donald Trump became president.
Yeah.
We've been locked indoors for a year. So do you know what I mean? You can't.
It's crazy.
You can't say for sure that anything's going to happen, and that's what I love. You know, it's just that unpredictability.
That's what they say about the conspiracy theorists. You know, you're living in the bit. Like if I'd have said this a few years ago, everyone would have labelled you as a nut job and wouldn't want to talk to you. You know, but we're living in. I mean, look, I don't want to go too much in. I unfortunately I have a kind of inquisitive brain that looks at a lot of shit. I do go down the rabbit hole. I can't help myself. That's the
problem. That's the problem, isn't it? Because once you do, I mean, I've got some friends at the gym who really strongly against this whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't believe in the virus. They don't believe in vaccination. They think it's a great reset.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as far as I'm concerned, I had a test over Christmas and it came back positive. Was it a real positive? I don't know. Was I ill? No. I had a bit of a runny nose for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Nothing like I wouldn't ordinarily get at this time of year anyway.
Yeah.
But everyone's going to be entitled to their own opinion. We're never going to know.
No.
Probability is that this virus, for me, probably. I mean, I don't buy into the America planted it in China. I just can't buy into that. I can't buy into that. But listen, I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah.
The probability for me is that it happened in one of these wet markets. I mean, you know, you don't have to look too far on YouTube to see some pretty gross animal produce.
Yeah. They do some strange stuff in China. Let's be honest.
Yeah, something that, you know, aren't necessarily cooked or, you know, hygienically prepared. So for me, chances are it came out of there. But, you know, the Chinese, they didn't want to let the WHO inspectors in.
Yeah.
Who knows what they've let them have access to? I don't know.
You see, from where I'm coming from, I'm a very skeptical person because I've caught so many people out in my life lying and saying the opposite, that it's turned me into someone who's very skeptical about everything. So if somebody tells me saying, "I'll go and research the opposite," just to see. Unfortunately, that's what I've become, and I've learned a lot about the completely opposite side to the virus, but I'm still not. I don't believe in any one thing. Okay, I remain open-minded. I think there is something. There's something happening. We're not sure. I'm not sure exactly what it is. So I remain open-minded, but I don't trust anybody. Certainly not the government. And I just find it quite strange that the entire world is locked down for something that is, you know, pretty much everyone's going to get over, and we use our own immune system to get over it. And
I know. I mean, my mum is terrified about it, and it's like she's got her date for her vaccine, and it's like she's won the lottery. You know.
Okay.
She's the sort of person who will walk around telling people off if they come too near her. You know, and a lot of people are the same.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I mean, I've got a friend who called me up the other day. He said, "Ollie, you got to sell everything, sell your houses. You know, don't have any money in the bank."
Yeah.
I was like, okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm selling up. I'm buying a place in Uganda. Man. I'm building a house in Uganda. I'm selling up here. I bought a car here. I'm going to ship it over there. The airlines, you're not going to be able to travel soon. The airlines are all, they're days within being bust.
Yeah.
You know, never mind not booking a holiday. There won't be any planes. It's all going to go. The great reset is happening. I was like, whoa, that's a bit too far out.
Yeah, definitely. You know? I think you know, I remain skeptical, but I certainly wouldn't. Because I don't know, and I don't think any of us know for sure either way. I think we all have to accept somebody's point of view without getting angry about their point of view, because I think you know, look, if I was walking outside and I see people dropping down in the streets, then for sure I'd be locked in my house with a mask on and everything, you know. But I think because it's not affecting us all, it's difficult. And some people are going to say, you know, you haven't seen what it's like for my dad, or, you know, and it's very, very sad. Yeah. So something is happening, but, you know, none of us are going to be able to control it. Who knows what's going to happen? I as much believe that they are going to do a complete reset of the financial system, perhaps, as they will, as there is a virus which is eventually going to affect us all.
Well,
I don't know.
A lot of other people are, because look at the price of Bitcoin.
It's gone right through the roof, hasn't it?
Gone nuts. I mean, it's 30 grand now. But I don't know. I mean, I've got a black friend, and he's like, no, you know, they're doing this to kill off all the black people, and you know, he's serious about that. And,
really,
I don't know. I can't. I can't be that extreme. You know. I mean, I had a runny nose. I don't know. Do I have to have a vaccine? No, but if it means I'm not going to be able to travel again, will I have it? Okay,
probably.
I'll have to. I mean, he's like, he goes away a lot. My friend, he said he'd rather never go away again, than vaccine. If the planes make you, you know, use a certificate or something, he's happy to go away. But you know what, life's too short.
Well, you know, I was speaking to somebody the other day about this, and I'm not against vaccines per se. I'm very tentative about this one because it's very different. It doesn't actually give you a dose of the actual virus.
Nice thing, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a bit of an effect on your DNA. I don't know. I'm no expert.
But RNA.
RNA. Messenger RNA, So, I forgot what I was going to say now. What was I going to say? So, Yeah, so A, it's new, and B, it hasn't been tested for a very long time.
Yeah, I know.
Which for me, that, you know, I'm a bit, you know, I don't want to put something in my body that hasn't been tested fully for
No,
a few years.
sure.
But you are right. You are right. I mean, if I'm going to be told you're never going to be able to travel, you're never going to be able to do this, you're never going to be able to do that. And somebody told me the other day, and he's a very philosophical, spiritual person who doesn't believe in all this. He believes it's something else, a bit like your friend. And he said, you know what, at the end of the day, even with my beliefs and that, Neil, he said, I would take the vaccine. And I said, why? And he said, it's the old thing. You can tame my body, do what you want with my body, but my spirit and my consciousness is something else. And you're never going to be able to take that away. So having a vaccine, if that allows me to do what I need to do while I'm here on the earth, then I'll have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite...
It does make you wonder what's going to happen long term. I mean, if they want to track you, you know, most people have got an iPhone or something with, you know, Wi-Fi connection or whatever. Government can track you. They know why, they know what you're doing, they know what shop you're in if you use Visa. You know, it's there's no escape from Big Brother, that's for sure. So for me, it's like everyone going over to Telegram from WhatsApp. You know, for me, let them look. You know, I respect what Snowden and the rest of it, you know, the WikiLeaks and all that. I really respect what they did, but for me, I know it sounds awful, but a lot of it doesn't affect me and my life, you know. So maybe that's a really bad way to think, because if you're not bothered about stuff, then how's anything going to change? You know?
Well, this is the trouble. I mean, you know, the people that are out protesting and, you know, they're actually out on the streets doing something, although we don't always agree that they should be protesting against this, and everybody's free and should be free in an open democracy to be able to express without violence, although sometimes this does turn violent, and the government or police are to blame as much as some of the protesters. But a person should be allowed to freely choose what they believe and how to express that, and whether or not it's somebody who says little green aliens are what made us, or God made us, or natural selection made us. It shouldn't matter, really. And we should,
it shouldn't matter. But it's like religion, politics, conspiracy. You know, they're so polarized. And my side thinks your side's wrong, therefore I'm against you. I mean, look what happened in Washington. Who would have thought that would happen? The US president would get impeached potentially twice. You know, I mean, that storming of Capitol Hill, you're never going to see that in our lives again, you know. And what Donald has done, and the fact that he's got 10 million more people voting for him this time around, that country is just so divided. You know, it's unbelievable. I'm not saying Barack Obama was a great president. What I'm saying is he was a great leader. He spoke to everyone. Everyone liked him. No one really had a bad word to say about Barack Obama, whether you were Republican, Democrat. You know, they all thought he was very diplomatic, but then maybe that's what America needed, you know.
If you, at the time,
you want to make an omelette, you need to crack a few eggs, right?
Well, look, whatever, you know, if Gandhi stood up and talked for an hour, there would be people who would say, what an idiot, you know, get rid of him, you know. It doesn't, I understand that politicians are never going to please everybody. You just can't. It's impossible. But at the same time, I do wonder that the people as such are never represented by people. They are represented by mostly by a different class of person in society who doesn't know what it's like to live in a council house in East London, or in Liverpool, or to be grown up working in the mines, up north. So there is a big I do think that there's a big disconnect. You know, our Prime Minister he was in Eton, wasn't he? He went through that kind of old boys' school brigade. And so I think although you might need that level of education to be able to run a country, I don't know. I just think there's a big disconnect between.
It's almost like again, another conspiracy theory is like there's a cabal, you know, that's all connected and putting people in power because it's in their best interests. And you know, I'm not completely convinced that there is a small element of truth in there somewhere, because nothing changes here, whether it's Labour or Conservative. Everyone's lives are still the same. You know,
let's be honest. You can't, like, they can barely control countries. How could you control a world and make? For sure, you could start wars over petrol or oil and things, but I don't know. I mean, you know, it's as much as thinking where we actually came from in the first place. You're never going to get to the bottom of it, so why waste your time just bashing your head against the wall?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like when people go on these marches and you know, all this stuff. I'm like, you're not going to change anything by doing that, you know. And
do you know all you end up becoming is an agitator, and you become angry and aggressive. I think the essence of life is doing things for other people, helping other people, loving one another, and creating some good vibes. Unfortunately, maybe the way that our society shapes us, it shapes us into a person that grows up angry or a person who grows up motivated and doing different things and going against what he saw when he was younger, hence what we were talking about with you when you were younger.
Yeah, definitely. Society and also your own upbringing and how your parents see their place in society as well. Because if your parents don't have any sense of aspiration or any hope for the future, that's all down onto their kids, and their kids are going to grow up thinking the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've come to a natural break now, Ollie.
Yeah, no worries.
We've been chatting for well over an hour and a half now, I think, mate.
Wow.
I know.
I can do a bit of verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it could just keep going and going and going. When you have somebody who can talk, it's you know, it's a pleasure to converse.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
You can't go to the park anymore and sit down and talk with somebody, or to the park, or
it's a very strange feeling, this kind of this new form of social interaction, but days.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, it might be one day that we're actually wearing a VR headset, and I'm sitting next to you in a library, Ollie, and we're talking about training or putting the world to rights, and I'm sitting there right in front of you.
I know.
Like, and Neil, you've put on weight, man. Jeez.
It's funny because you go on the tube or any train or bus or whatever, and it's like this, isn't it? Everyone's just looking at their phone, you know. It's it's absolutely mad. What are they looking at? I mean, what is so important that you've got to look at your phone whilst you're on a train? I don't know. I mean, I'm coming from pre-phones, pre-internet.
Yeah.
Most people won't remember when there was no.
My broadband's going down, I think.
Oh, okay.
Which be all right? Huh?
Who are you with?
Sky.
Oh, my Virgin has been down for the last 3 days, and
2 minutes. Hold on, Ollie. I'll be just a couple of minutes.
I actually thought I was going to have to cancel today because I didn't have internet for the last 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, but when I sent you that stuff yesterday, obviously it was back on, and unfortunately today, it's all good. So we got it in the can. We did it. We nailed it.
We did it, buddy, and I'll edit this and put in some of that awesome stuff you sent me over, and
yeah, no worries.
Make something nice out of it. Ollie, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time. Maybe we can do it again one day in the future. Who knows? We'll talk about
see what the
something else.
Is. You might lose 2,000 followers now.
Oh, do you know what? I don't really care. I really don't care. If people don't want to listen to it, it's up to them.
I know.
It's just me with guys like yourself, just chatting, shooting the breeze, finding out about people's lives. Because I get fed up with listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger and The Rock and blah blah blah. I want to listen to ordinary people, real people.
Yeah, I know.
Real people. Because you know what? There are some people who they have to use all their motivation and inspiration in life just to run their family, and that's all they do for their entire life. And do you know what? No one praises them, no one says anything, and we're all superstars. We're all actors, aren't we? We're all actors in this big stage.
Yeah. You don't have to have like aspirations of landing on the moon or whatever. You know, it's all starts from you feeling good about yourself. You know, the people that you care about and you're connected to, inspiring them to feel good about themselves, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
That's so true, man. So
anyway,
true, man. Good to see you, buddy. You look after yourself.
Take care, mate.
Yeah, you take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching the show. Hope you found it interesting. I know we can rabbit on just a little bit too much sometimes, but there you go. It's just about real life. It's just about listening to people talking about life and the things they do in life. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a subscribe, give us a little like, and why not even just send us a message if you want to know something more about Ollie's training or anything, or what kind of shows or people I'm going to be putting on those shows coming up in the future, because I've got so many people lined up to come on and have a chat. It's really it's actually lovely to be able to connect with people in these strange times that we're in at the moment. So guys, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, take care, look after each other, stay strong, guys, and be tireless. Don't let it get you down. Always work your way back up. We fail, we overcome, we move on, and that is what life's about. It's about continuing the momentum and the strength that you gather in that momentum. Good things or bad things, they will all shape you into what you are going to become. All right, guys, take care. See you soon. It's me. I'm out.